There's a lot of demand for developers' attention today in the startup world. Make no mistake, developers are coming together to go build the next thing. Whether it's the Yo app, which was a famous little app that got started here not too long ago, or full-fledged companies like a Pinterest, a Facebook, a Twitter, they're developing for a purpose. They're trying to create a new service, a new product, a new platform. When we started our journey about 3 years ago, we were less interested in trying to position developer tools or our platforms and more interested in what their journeys were. And we tailored everything we did around the startup's individual journey. Because really, ultimately, what we wanted them to be was an active participant in our ecosystem, not just to run our cloud platforms, but to be of value to our vast partners and customers that Microsoft has reached into. And frankly, make our products better. So provide that valuable product insight and feedback that would help our cloud platform and our developer tools and everything else. And what we have found is by focusing on them and not on us, we actually got further along in our journey and got better insights than just trying to peddle, I hate to say peddle, but to push developer tools or platforms. They're getting a lot of that from a lot of our competitors already. So we wanted to be different. We did actually 2.5 years ago, and credit to this goes to Trace Nemeshani, who's on my team out of New York City. She heads up our East Coast operations and focuses on New York. She made a bet on a couple of early industries that's actually paid off really well for us. The first that she made a bet on was in genomics. So we tailored a specific package in partnering with Microsoft Research. We went after a set of what we consider to be important early stage genomic startups. We were interested in them because we had a set of services that were coming to the Azure platform, primarily powered by GPU services. But we also had this amazing research that was coming out from Microsoft Research that was highly applicable to what these startups were building in the genomic space. That then led to another deep dive into financial sector and financial services. And now more pointedly, she's been pursuing blockchain as a recent endeavor. So what we have done differently there is we've just decided, hey, there's this emerging bubble of really cool innovation. We want to be part of that. So let's go and identify those and then jump in. Genomics being one example, blockchain being the other. And Trace has also led, quite successfully over the last 3 years, a retail showcase of our startups. It's a startup showcase that we host at NRF, the National Retail Federation, every January in New York City. And that's an example of us bringing a set of curated startups that are solving real problems for customers who are attending these events. And what we have found is that matchmaking is near perfect. Most every startup has got a deal or is in discussions to do business with our customers from those engagements. Yeah, I'll take credit for this because this was something I brought my team up to speed on a little early on. So we took a very critical view of where Microsoft was. We wanted to be humble about where Microsoft was as an ecosystem player in the startup world. And we also wanted to be aware of some of the challenges that we would face. When I look at how we compare to an AWS or a Google, at a cloud technology platform level, you could argue that there's some symmetry across each and every one of them. AWS may have better services, but we'll catch up, or we may be further ahead than them and they'll catch up. Same goes for Google. What we wanted to do is really get at where we felt some of our competitors were doing better. And where I think AWS has done a good job is, one, they were out in the cloud market first, but because they're in the cloud market first, they're able to build a community. And we didn't have that, not at the scale that Microsoft needed. So I had pushed my team very politely to actually start building communities. So we thought, how do we do that? We can hang out at the Y Combinator and 500 startups all day long and do office hours, and all that worked fantastically. But what do we do beyond that? And so I said, we take them out for dinner. So I'm a European. My parents immigrated from Greece to Toronto. I grew up there, and a lot of what we did on weekends was community. It was my family, our extended family got together. And so, long story short, is we started something called CTO supper clubs or CEO supper clubs, where we'd invite a select number of our startups to get together. And the brilliance that came from that wasn't the meal or the people coming together. It was the fact that startups are actually collaborating amongst themselves and helping each other. That's the best form of help that you could create. And that was something that at the time Microsoft was lacking. We just didn't have that vast community that an AWS was enjoying, as an example. And so that was one thing that we did differently, and we still do those today. We'll bring a few startups together. There's no agenda. We'll meet at a restaurant, We are selective about who we bring in because we want to make sure everyone's getting something from that dinner. It's not that we're trying to be inclusive or exclusive, rather. We wanted to make sure that people who are showing up could actually get value from the others who are showing up as well. And that's actually proved to be a very successful way of building community for us. And beyond that, when startups go off after those dinners, they're actually, to our benefit, building community off on the side and helping us in our endeavors. And so that was one big thing that we did early on and continue to still do in terms of building community. So much of what we try to do is to be orthogonal to what our competitors are trying to do, which is always push cloud, 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 and pick their platform. We're not in that. We've never really done that, and quite successfully, I think we've done extremely well in pursuing of not doing that.